you hearing us? Yes.
Hi, this is Neil with Graveside Paranormal Tours, gravesideparanormal.com, Graveside Paranormal on YouTube. How's everybody liking the tour tonight? Adam, are you here? Talk to us.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Spirits by the Graveside. I am your host with the most, and we're going to talk about ghost. Neil Gibbons, how are you of Graveside Paranormal? Steve could not make it tonight due to the coronavirus, so let's start off just right. Starting out with spirits. I have mine. Do you have yours? What I have here is my special cup. So let's start off our little show just right. Just like any kind of thing, like a lot of people are at home, not able to get out or go to a bar, so let's bring the bar to each other. So let's just pop open your favorite thing, mix your favorite drink, do a couple of shots, sit back, relax, and let's get right into the news. As one of the things that's going on that everybody knows about is the coronavirus. Right now it's 8,904 cases are in Illinois as confirmed, and there's a total of 210 dead as of today's date. That's a whole lot of people. In the U.S., it's a little over 275,000 people who are confirmed. Deaths is about 7,067 at this time. One of the things about the coronavirus, talking about our nurses, very important. If you see them, they're tired. A lot of these ladies are respiratory therapists, police, firemen, people who work inside the jails, correctional officers. Some of them are pulling double duty on different shifts. So we want to make sure that, these people are taken care of. If you see somebody, they look tired, buy them a cup of coffee. You see somebody, a nurse or a fireman or a policeman, buy them a cup of coffee and say, hey, I appreciate you. Because these people are breaking their back every day, trying to make sure that this outbreak does not go any further than what it is supposed to. So with that being said, the other big elephant in the room that let's talk about for a moment, let's talk about the Tiger King. Who has been watching the Tiger King? Well, I started watching a couple weeks ago before it started becoming so darn popular. I just said, I turned on Netflix, I said, I'll check out this. It looks very weird. And I like weird stuff. So one of the things is that the Tiger King, guess what? Supposedly he has the coronavirus in the jail that he's at. He's on quarantine as is now. So a whole bunch of new memes are going to come up about him. The one part about the coronavirus, or the Tiger King, that I found really weird was, I think it was like the 7th episode. Now hold your ears for the people who have not heard this. He's doing a funeral for his lover, and he's dressed up like a priest, and he starts talking about the guy's golden nuggets. I don't know if anybody caught that. Or how about the picture of the one thing Alan has, that little thing on his arm, and it looks like some kind of bug coming out of his arm. But I recommend Tiger King to people. If anybody wants to talk about that, feel free to talk about it. Haunted houses for sale. What's going on in America? A lot of haunted houses are for sale right now. We went to Whispers Estate. Guess what? That's for sale at this time in Mitchell, Indiana. That one place is for sale. That was going for $130,000, which is really nothing, but I'm going to tell you something. It's a very odd place. When you go there, you meet these two ladies who are the caregivers or the caretakers at the place. And they live inside this room, it's a very small room by themselves. And I asked them if they were witches, and they said they were witches. It took them a little hesitation to really tell us, but I had Michelle with me, and she confirmed that they were witches. They lived in a room where, like, basically there were Ouija boards and all kinds of things inside there, and they give you free roam in a place. It does need a lot of repair. So for $130,000, if you want to get your own haunted house, go to Mitchell, Indiana. Now, the one thing about the one at Whispers Estate, the best EVP. Now, please listen to what I'm going to say and try to remember. The best EVP that we got was in the Whispers estate. Now there's this closet. Supposedly people get attacked inside this closet. So James went in there with Tom. He went in there, and at 28 minutes and 30 seconds, listen to it. The EVP is one of the most unbelievable EVPs that you will ever hear. I guarantee you that. Let me take a sip of my beer. We'll move on to the next haunted house. The Priestley House in Mississippi is selling for $899,000. There was a Dr. John Priestley in 1852, and his wife died in the early 1900s due to another kind of virus, the yellow fever. That house there is supposedly selling for $899,000. Susan is seen in the bedroom where she died, supposedly. So there's some kind of haunting there. So maybe you want to check out that house, or maybe, what the heck, take out a loan and go buy the house. What the hell? We'll go off with one more. The Schwepp House, which is in Lake Forest, Illinois. Now, the Schwepp House, that is a multi-million-dollar mansion. It's an unbelievable size. I've never been there before, but I've seen it. I have seen it on videos. I've seen pictures. It's like the Bruce Wayne mansion. It's unbelievable. Well, supposedly the wife of what is his name? He was Charles. Charles, his wife supposedly haunts the place as well as he does, and supposedly some little girl is supposed to be going up the road. Another house for sale, but I don't know if it's haunted. But the late great, the boss, Al Capone's house in Miami is going for $8.5 million at this time. So if somebody wants to go ahead and buy themselves that house there, that's another really cool house to do as well. Now we're going to have Mr. Bob Trzeciak. Bob is he is going to be talking to us. We're going to ask him some questions. He is the king of paranormal radio. Me and Bob met about maybe 3-4 years ago when I started doing the tours. And he reached out to me and we were on his radio show. Very nice guy. One thing about Bob, he's one of the most knowledgeable. I like to think of him as Yoda of the spiritual world. And he is definitely, you got a question that you need answered, Bob Trzeciak can answer it for you. Bob has been dead maybe 3 times, but that's all jokingly. Like the other day, I was looking for him to make sure that I had his biography right. And it came up that Robert Trzeciak was dead, and I said, oh my God, now he's an older man. And I'm thinking, oh my God, he had the coronavirus too. So I call him up, and I said, Bob, but I'll continue on with the story. Why don't we call Bob right now? But another sip of this. Everybody with me? Let us call Bob. Good old Bob. All right. Reaching out to Bob. The king. Yes, it is. Bob, are you there in the paranormal world, buddy?
Hello?
Bob.
How do you do?
Hey, it's Neil from Spirits by the Graveside. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Well,
Did you get to go out and enjoy some of the nice fresh air and sunshine?
you know what I did today, Bob? I made sure I woke up early. I slept in until about 8 or 9 o'clock. And I went to the park. And I went and worked out inside the park. And I went for about a good 2-mile walk. And it was so beautiful this morning. It was just so nice. Anahata was asking, you're alive?
I'm alive. Yes, I'm alive.
Yes, Bob is alive.
I'm still here. You're talking to me, and you're talking to me from this world, not the next.
Not the next.
I'm still alive.
Just so everybody knows, there is an obituary out there for Bob being dead at this time, but it is a different Robert Trzeciak who was born in the 1950s. So I actually thought that it was him. So I called him right away because he's one of my buddies, and I said, Bob, you're alive. And he started laughing.
He was calling me because he thought he was in the will, so that's why he was calling.
Exactly. Because I want all the stories.
This actually happened to me. This is the third time this has happened to me, where I've been dead.
Yeah.
Actually, once before, about 4 years ago, 5 years, going on 5 years now, I sold my home that I lived in Summit forever. I lived 58 years in Summit. Sold the home and I moved out to Elsup. I retired.
Right.
And a couple times it was on Facebook. Well, you know that Bob that used to live in the White House over there in Summit, he used to manage the subway that was across the street and all, all that stuff and everything. They said, well, I don't see him anymore and all that. And they said, oh yeah, and someone else is living in his house now. There's somebody else there and that. And they said, I think he died. Another person says, oh yes, he did. He passed away. Bob passed away. And then I had a print it. I says, no, I'm sorry to disappoint everybody, but I'm still here.
and he's been hit by cars more than once.
Yeah, I've had that happen too. I got hit by cars a couple of times, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the man's indestructible.
Jeez, I hope, well, for the time being anyway, yeah.
Now let's ask a question, Bob. How long have you been doing radio?
How long have I been doing what?
Radio.
Oh, radio? Gee, I don't know. Let's see. With WARG first, over in Summit at Argo High School, WARG radio. And then from there, I went to the Windy City Network, www.windycityhometown.com. And actually, for a short time, for a couple of months, I was doing them both. And then WARG canceled all their shows, and then I just kept doing the show once a month at the Windy City Network. Let's see. Probably about 8 years, maybe 8 or 9 years. Radio, yeah.
Good.
When I was first doing the show, I was doing it weekly. Every week I was doing it. And then when I started doing the second show, I was actually doing 2 shows for a while. The second show, I says, I can only do this one once a month. Because to do 2 weekly shows is a little bit of work. So I did this one just once a month. And then when the shows all got canceled at WARG, I just kept up doing the once a month, and that's what I do now.
All right, cool. And yeah, you just...
Of course, this month now we won't have a show. This is kind of the show for this month.
Yeah. So what do you think about the coronavirus? What's your opinion about it?
I don't want to hear any more about it. I'm just so tired of hearing so much about, I know what's out there. It's terrible. I just want everybody to be safe, everybody to stay well, everybody to get well that's sick with it, and just be over as fast as possible, this apocalypse that we're in. It's horrible.
Right.
It really is.
You know what?
Nothing like this ever happened. This morning, I quite honestly didn't even watch the news. I'm just so tired of hearing so much about this, and it really plays on people's minds, and I know it's there. We all know it's there, and it's something dangerous. It's to be taken seriously, but I think maybe a little too much of that, can be not a good thing.
Right. Yeah, one thing I really do believe that because this is lasting so long, at first I like to call it the honeymoon phase. It's all cute and funny. Everybody's in their house, they're enjoying their food and their drink. But after a certain amount of time, people are not going to be very happy sitting in their houses, not being able to go to their favorite bars or restaurants. And that's when people start getting nuts. And I really do believe that we're going to eventually be hitting that part after the honeymoon phase, and people are going to start doing dumb, crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about it is people start looking for alternative things, and some of the alternatives may not be nice. They may not be nice things. I myself like to take a walk twice a day. Twice a day I like to get out. I like to take a morning walk, and I like to take an afternoon walk. Today it was so outstanding outside. I was actually walking for a good part of the day, or if I wasn't walking, I was sitting. Like sitting on one of the benches over in the little park area, that type of thing like that.
Yeah.
And just spending some time outside, as much as you're able to, because you really, it starts to get to you. You really can't spend that much time indoors. I mean, there's so many things you can do. You can just do so much work in your house. There's so many things you can work on and do, and then you just have to take that break,
Yeah. Well, let's move on. Let's move on to what is your probably scariest story that you've ever heard of in the paranormal world, Bob?
Oh, the scariest?
Scariest.
Jeez,
as
see,
to
that
you.
would be,
to you, anyways.
that would be even like the scariest experience I've ever had?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that's tough to say. Well, a lot of things have scared me, but really not so much in the paranormal. Because usually in the paranormal, it's something that you're looking for. You're sort of somewhat expecting it.
Yeah.
The unexpected are more the frightening things.
Right. Like if the lights are going to go out.
I'd say something that really startled me was some years ago. It really startled me. It really kind of threw me for a loop. This is going back maybe 40 years, at least. Yeah, 40 years, maybe a little less, maybe 38, 35, right around there. But anyway, it's been some time. And right on 111th Street used to be the old Dubois Fabrics warehouse building, and that's where they sold reupholstering supplies and things in fabrics for reupholstering. And I used to do reupholstering. I actually went to trade school for that many years ago to do reupholstering work. And right across the street from it is the cemetery, directly across the street from the Fabric Building. Now the Fabric Building, ironically enough, is Midnight Terror has taken that over, and they run their haunted house there. They're for the month of October, and then other times of the year they do other things there too. They do laser tag, they do other things over there. But in those days it was the Fabric place. So I had been going there one morning to pick up some material and some things they needed for a job, and it was like a September-ish morning, sort of a misty, kind of cool September morning, 7:30ish in the morning. I'm going there to pick up some stuff for a job, and right across the street by the cemetery, I see a bride standing there. Bride, long veil like all the way down to the ground. You can see the veil sort of fluttering in the breeze, type of thing like that. Sort of a misty-looking figure, and it just really startled me. It really startled me. I don't know if it really was frightened so much as startled. And of course, my instinct was, well, to flip the car around and come back and get a second look, which I did do. But then, of course, by that time, the image is gone.
And what's odd about what you're saying is that's 111th Street.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That where is actually she's supposed to be on Archer Avenue. Maybe she got her buses incorrect. I don't know, something.
Who was that? That was supposed to be on Archer?
Resurrection Mary.
Oh, Resurrection. No, I don't think this was a Resurrection Mary apparition. No, I really don't. This was a bride.
Yeah.
This was a bride. You could clearly see like the long veil. You couldn't make out facial features or anything like that, because you had like that veil, in front of it and that. But I very vividly remember that. Something I never forgot all these many, many years. But no, I don't think that one. I don't attribute that to a Resurrection Mary. I've never had any kind of an encounter with Resurrection Mary.
No,
I've up and down Archer Road many, many times, and many family members, and eventually me buried in Resurrection Cemetery and that. And years ago, when I used to live there in Summit, I would be up and down there all the time and that. I never anything at all, nothing even remotely close to Resurrection Mary. I believe it does exist, yeah, most definitely.
Oh, yeah,
no
me
doubt
too.
about it.
Yeah,
I've talked to 33 different people that claim to have had some sort of an encounter with her. But myself personally, no, nothing. I never had any encounter with the entity of Resurrection Mary, no.
Yeah. What do you think is the most haunted spot in the Chicagoland area?
The most haunted spot in the Chicagoland area? We have so many of them.
I know, right?
We really do. We have so many. Chicago is a very good locale, especially with most all of Archer Road. Just about everything up and down Archer Road has some sort of a haunt on it. Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, of course, would be a good contender for that. Although now many people say, oh, Bachelor's Grove, I don't think there's anything really that goes on there anymore. I think it's sort of been cleansed and this and that and the other. No, I don't think so. I think there's still some mysterious things that go on in the Grove over there in Bachelor's Grove. And yeah, I think there's still some things. So I would say, it's sort of a toss-up. I would say, well, if you want to just say Archer Road as a whole, the whole of Archer Road, yeah, and then Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, I would say too. But there are other spots too. A lot of downtown locations, and a lot of different haunted pubs, and many different places. Yeah.
Yeah, How do you think maybe Bachelor's Grove is closed during quarantine? You think? Steve's asking that question.
Well, they could quarantine it if they want to, but pretty much everybody in there, except for the people that are above the ground, really doesn't have to worry too much about the quarantine.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. You know what? The Bachelor's Grove, we've been out there. You and I have been out there countless times.
Oh, yeah, many times. Yeah, I live not too far from it. Where I'm at now, and I'm not too far away from Bachelor's Grove, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, I really don't like going to Bachelor's Grove myself, Bob, because I really do believe there's attachments there. It seems like every time when we're doing tour season and I'm doing that, it's because I'm kind of like sensitive to it. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. It does seem to bring some misfortune. Some things seem to happen, and things seem not to work out, and that kind of stuff like that. But a lot of what seems to not work out, I don't think is brought about by, how should I say this? I don't think it's brought about by the cemetery itself and the mysterious things that happen there, the powers that be in the cemetery. I think it's brought on by mortals, other people.
I totally agree with you. Actually, I believe it's actually a possession that's going on there, and I'll explain. I know this is going to sound a little odd.
That could be. It could very well be. Yeah, because there are some weird things that happen there. Yeah.
But what it is I believe it's people that started this. Because you remember back in the 1950s and 60s, that's when they started seeing these blue orbs of light bouncing around in the cemetery area. Well, of course,
1950s and 60s, I was still a little young to be going out there because I was born in '57. But I do remember the '70s very much, and it seemed like a lot of the famous stories that we hear now, like you mentioned, Resurrection Mary and Bachelor's Grove and that, a lot of this stuff seemed to really surface like in the early '70s. That seemed to be like the heyday for the haunted things to be happening They really seem to happen a lot in the 70s for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Well,
that seemed to be when a lot of stuff really was happening. Yeah.
What I think it is that it's the three things of possession. You got your infestation, your oppression, and then you have possession. What it is, and let me explain, is that people all of a sudden found the need and the want to go to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, and they all of a sudden started doing these seances, these rituals, killing animals, digging up grave sites. So what it is, it's an infestation by the people on the land, kind of like you have a house, and all of a sudden you get bugs that start eating away at the wood and this and that. Termites are eating away at the wood, and eventually what happens is that an oppression starts there. The people are beaten down on that ground by trying to open up things that they think that they're going to get these superpowers or get in tune with the dark side or whatever. And then all of a sudden what happens is a possession on the ground happens from the things that they're opening. And when they start to open that, then you start to get attachments that happen upon people. And that's just my opinion on that. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people who have different ideas.
Yeah, that's an interesting theory, and it could very well be a possibility. Yeah, because strange things do happen, and people do have strange experiences there and stuff. Yeah, so yeah, it's a very good theory. It's a good possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just from keeping going in there and this and that. Now, I wanted to let you shout out. We all know that the quarantine's going on right now. I can't really use the word quarantine, but right now everybody's in their houses. But Bob does have a couple tours that might happen. I'd like him to talk about it to let you guys and girls know that he is scheduled for something in May. Bob, do you want to talk about what you got going on in May?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not really... Yeah, those... I'm really not certain what's going on right now, as is everybody. I'm not really certain about those. We do have one set, and it's in cooperation with the Irish Legends over in Willow Springs there, which is right across from what used to be the old Willowbrook Ballroom. What's left of it now, there isn't anything there. I think there's some condos set to go up in that spot. But anyway, Irish Legends, and with Justin Maynard over at the Irish Legends there, we kind of are in collaboration, and we're supposed to be doing a tour, like a Southside tour, and it's scheduled for May 2nd, and then I believe there is a second one scheduled for May 27th. But quite honestly, I'm not really certain about those. I don't know if those are going to be a go or not. I really don't think so at this point. This current quarantine or extension of the quarantine that we're in now goes on till April 30th. So I don't know if those are going to fly, but they're nice to do. I enjoy doing the tours. They're fun to do and everything, but those I'm really not too certain about. Unless we decide to move them later. I don't know if Justin will want to do that, if they'll want to move into a later date or something, but I don't think the ones we have set for May right now are going to go. If they do, that's wonderful and fine, but I just don't know, because I got a feeling this is going to go on a little longer, this meaning the quarantine that we're in right now. Yeah, I think it's going to go a little longer than we're all anticipating,
Now, the last time you were at Irish Legend, you and Justin went upstairs because you guys were doing a tour there.
Yeah.
Those two pictures that Justin showed me, I'll put it up on our Facebook site after the show.
The one is very good, yeah.
Yeah, man, it's an incredible picture. Like my brother Mike, he took some video of an orb flying around. Of course, we got to differentiate between dust and this and that. But this one, it looked a little intelligent. But the picture that Justin got from his customer, you and him got it from your customers, that there looks like the back end of a lady in a white dress. Is that the same thing you're getting?
It almost looks, it's very close to me. You've probably seen the very famous photo of the brown lady at Raynham Hall. The image in white coming down the
yes.
overlooking open staircase. It's almost what it looks like to me.
Yeah, that was, man.
Like sort of like a veiled figure like that kind of,
Yeah, that was a really, really good picture. I really enjoyed that.
That's one of the better ones I've seen in a while anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Bob, I do appreciate you coming on the show tonight. You're on our first show, Spirits by the Graveside, and we hope to have you back. Because we got to move on to our other subjects at hand and our emails for tonight. So,
is that it? I'm done?
Would you like to talk some more, Bob?
No, it's fine with me. I don't care. Yeah, whatever you want to do. Yeah.
Sorry, Bob.
Once I hang up, then that's it. I'm out of the show.
You're out of the show.
Because I'm not on Facebook. I don't have internet where I'm at. I usually walk to the library, which of course is also shut down now too.
Well, you want to
internet at the library then? So I don't have it in my home. I don't have that. So I'm just talking plain on the phone. That's it.
Do you want to then you want to stay on the show and you want? I got some emails here. What do you think the difference between a ghost and a spirit is?
A ghost and spirit, I think they're one and the same. I think, my opinion, a ghost and spirit, I think they're one and the same. I think you can just refer to something as a spirit, you can refer to something as a ghost. But I think when people say ghost, you're looking more for something you can actually see, like an actual image, like the photo you just mentioned.
Right.
A spirit may be something more that you can feel or sense the presence of, but I think they're really kind of one and the same.
No, I agree completely with you. I believe that a ghost is a thing, like a residual haunting, is something that people see also with entities, where you sometimes have little children who think that they're playing along with another child. It's a manipulation.
Yeah, it's a little more tangible piece of evidence, yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is that, so with the spirit, it's more on an emotional level, whereas the spirit is there and like you feel the spirit of the person that you knew, and they might be trying to reach out to you, and it reaches on an emotional level with you, and you might see them in their form. That's more of the spirit level on that one. And
Good.
and like ghosts are more energy than ghosts and spirits are more of an energy form. They're not a thing of matter. So.
Yeah. Have you been getting, now you're doing this Facebook Live?
Yeah, we're doing Facebook Live right now.
Oh, Facebook Live. So if you had some people that have been listening in and sending
Yeah, you want me, has anybody got any questions for Bob? I will read you a couple questions.
Oh, fine. Okay. All right.
All right, let's see what we got for Bob today. Bob he's very, very good at what he knows. He's been doing this a very long time. If somebody has a question for Bob, please feel free to ask. We're getting some likes here. And then we can also, what do you think about Bigfoot, Bob?
Bigfoot, I'll be honest with you, quite honestly, every Bigfoot sighting so far that I have researched, anything I've been able to find, any research I've ever done on Bigfoot, anything, as of yet, right now, every single piece of evidence for anything to do with Bigfoot has been proven to be a hoax.
Right.
Yeah, the FBI, years ago, spent something like $50,000 to research. I forget who the gentleman's name was that they gave him money to research it and actually find actual evidence of Bigfoot. And what he actually came up with was very depressing. It was a rubber mask, fake hair, and he put the thing on ice, and that, I guess, figured no one would detect this. And of course, it got debunked instantly. And they spent like $50,000, to research this, and that's what the best they were come up with. The very famous photo that for many, many years, the sort of shaky, sort of Blair Witch Project type photo of Bigfoot running in between the trees that you would see, the hairy kind of image, that has been proven to be a hoax. It actually was the gentleman, I forget who the gentleman was that actually filmed that, but it was his wife in a costume. And he finally admitted it. She passed away, and then before his death, he admitted, he said, yep, that it was a hoax, that it was his wife in a costume, and they filmed it. And but for many, many years, people believed it to be the real deal. But so far, there really is. Do I believe something like that does exist? Yes, it's a very good possibility that something does exist. There's something out there like that, because people have been seeing it, but do they have any actual physical evidence of it? It's very sketchy right now. Yeah, right now, so far, everything I've ever seen has been proven in one way or another to be not true, unfortunately.
Right. You know what, and the thing that I find so funny, like I've watched these shows. They have these shows out there for Bigfoot, right? And I enjoy them because these guys who live out in these woods, they are the most creative people. I would be so scared to think of anything that would be hunted by these guys. They come up with these contraptions of how to kill almost everything. You know, like you fall in the ground or you get scooped up by something and then like something goes through you. These guys here, but here's the problem I have. They go along the country, the United States and different foreign countries. They go in there and they say, hey, this is the yellow Sasquatch or this is the red-headed Sasquatch. I'm trying to think to myself, how can you have this? How can you classify these things? See, everything goes through a biology, kingdom, class, order, family, genus, species. How is it that you're classifying something that you've never caught? You have to catch one to at
absolutely.
least...
You have no evidence, no actual physical evidence of it. How can you classify it? How can you
But that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Just say Bigfoot or Sasquatch. But don't start putting up names like the red-headed Yeti of such and such. When you
and
have
then
no
the Yeti
class...
itself, the Yamato snowman, they also believe is a version of, an all-white version of the Sasquatch.
Yeah, I mean, it was just really, really. I just find it
really
humorous.
has yet so far, and don't believe me. I mean, research it for yourself. Check out research yourself. Do your diligence and find the research on it. And so far, you will see that any piece of evidence that anyone has ever supposed piece of evidence has been debunked and proven to be a hoax.
What do you think of the correlation between aliens and the paranormal, as in spirits or ghosts? Do you think there's a correlation?
Oh, between aliens, like you're talking like extraterrestrials?
Correct.
Yeah, there may be a very fine line between that. There might be a fine line between the two, connecting the two with that too. Many people that something I'm finding out with this when I'm talking with people, people that have had these experiences, eyewitnesses to these things, and people that have felt this. One thing I'm finding out is there seems to be some sort of a time loss that they can't account for.
Yes.
Someone claims to have had some sort of an experience, not so much with an experience with a ghost, like a ghost sighting or a feeling of something, out of the norm in that respect, but some sort of a UFO encounter, some people that I have spoken with actually claim to have been actually physically encountered by aliens and picked up and examined by them, and you name it, And one thing that they all seem to have in common is that there's some sort of a loss of time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a time loss that they can't account for. They don't know. And now I'm speaking with people back to Bachelor's Grove that seem to be experiencing this sort of time loss at Bachelor's Grove Cemetery too, where they're sort of having this thing where time seems to get away from them, and there's like 15 minutes or 20 minutes or a half an hour or whatever the time frame may be that they just can't account for.
That is very interesting.
Lost.
Yeah, I think like we were talking about earlier about my idea about a possession that's definitely there, but I explained it. But I think something's open that they just can't close now. And I don't know if you could bring in a priest or whomever to try to cleanse the land, but there may have been something way before that, and then due to the actions of individuals opening up things, I don't think they can ever close it, and there might be an interdimensional pull by something. I know I might sound a little nuts, a little too far-fetched on that.
No, it doesn't sound nuts at all. It's a theory. It's something, it's a theory, and, there are many different theories out there, and of course you're entitled to, a theory of your own, sure.
And what do you think do you think that maybe if the aliens do exist, do you think it's more of an opening in the dimension?
Well, first off, I don't think it's a question if they do exist. I think they do exist.
Right.
Certain. I mean, what makes us feel that we're the only, ones out there?
The only ones in the
universe,
world. Universe, yes.
Over the years, we've explored very, very little of it, and there's a lot out there. So I don't think we're the only thing, the only living beings out there in the world.
Right. What do you think about shadow people?
Oh, yeah, I've experienced that one. I've had that a few times. Yeah, with shadows. Yeah, like a dark shadow that just sort of appears and that type of thing like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, there again, what would you call a shadow person? Is that a ghost? Is that a spirit? Whatever you want to call it. Nonetheless, yeah, that seems to be a common experience. A lot of people seem to have that one, and I've had that one a few times myself. Yeah.
Where it's common is actually over at Chet's. We caught it during one of our tours. A lady, I didn't do it. She gave it to a picture of it. I'll put it up on our site after this, just like the pictures from you guys at Irish Legend. But we have it where there's this shadow, and it's hard to explain it, but somebody was able to pick it up and take a picture of it. You can see clearly these two eyes. They're just made of light. I believe that that's also a dimensional existence that happens in the supernatural world. I believe that's dimensional. It's some kind of opening happens. Some people believe that when you see a shadow person that it might be something evil. But what happens is it's just the way that we perceive or see that person or that entity, and that's how the entity kind of sees us when we're seen at the same time. We don't know.
True.
Some people, all of a sudden, they see something black and menacing. Well, at first, it's got to be evil, but it could be something that's actually trying to make communication with you. Like an intelligent haunting. Just because you hear noises or you're pushed or anything like that, what it could mean is it's trying to just make contact with you. Could it be something that's malevolent or wrong or bad? Yeah, of course. But if all of a sudden it gives you a little shove or this and that, it might just be.
Well, I would ask myself now, as in anything, if you say it's something bad. It's bad is the word you're using. It's a bad, meaning it's evil or it's not a good entity, it's not a good spirit. What would be the results of it? And now, when you encountered it, did it do something to harm you? Did it harm someone else? Was it doing something not right? I mean, then I would say it's bad.
Right.
Is it causing some mischief? If it's just making itself known to you, well, it's not really bad,
Yeah, like, and I tell people, especially if there's a child involved, have us out there because, as you know, we do investigations and we do all our investigations for free. And we've had Bob with us at certain places. Bob's always, like I say, he's a very helpful guy on certain knowledge. To be honest with you, without Bob, some things I wouldn't even know about because he's been around a little bit longer than I have, and he's just very good at what he does. And
that's very nice of you to say, Neil. Thank you.
I know.
Well, what a nice compliment. Yeah.
Tell your friends.
I'm sure there's people out there that are better at it than I am, but maybe not as long as I've been at it. But I'm sure they're, with the different equipment and different things they're using now, different techniques and that. But what really surprises me about the paranormal is so many folks that have been going out there with all this equipment and all these recorders and all this video and all this for so many years, and yet we have very little good evidence. Very little good evidence, Well,
you know what? I have to kind of... I take, for instance, the box that we use that Steve created, the Anahata box. Okay? Now, when I first met Steve, I was doing a party for law enforcement, doing a benefit for law enforcement. And what happened was his brother came up to me and he said he knew I was going to start doing tours. This is some years ago. And he had a thing called the Chakra box, which was the first box that we had before we upgraded to the Anahata. Now, we have got it where we're getting intelligent answers to intelligent questions. Take, for instance, in the video I was showing, I know you weren't able to see it, I was showing a video where we were using SB11, me and my brother, down in the basement of the Irish Legend. And you know the story that they believe there's a little boy named Adam down there. Another ghost person in their books, they decided to put that there's a little boy named Adam. Well, the thing is, my belief is that it's a manipulative spirit pretending to be a child. That's my belief. And we caught it on the SB11 where I go, Adam, are you there? And then you hear, I'm sick. When we go to the Irish Legend, we go down the basement, we get also on there, we get a little boy's talking to us. When I say, Adam, are you here? A little boy's voice will talk. It's not a perfect science, and there's no such thing as a perfect science, and there's no such thing as experts in this field. There's only good researchers and people who have interests like you and I. There's no such thing as an expert. If we were experts, we would already been dead on when it came back and tried to explain certain things. Do you kind of agree with that?
Oh, yes, very much so, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Down the line, I think as the paranormal gets, and I've said this many, many times, and I continue to say it all the time, it's something I really like to stress. I think as the paranormal gets taken seriously, down the line, it's been around like forever, the paranormal.
Oh, yeah.
But if it ever gets taken seriously enough where it's actually like recognized by the government, recognized by the state, classes could be taught, things could be taught about this legitimately. You could actually get certification. I know there's, when we say the certification thing, I know there's a lot of people out there online, on the internet, that will, you send them the $50 or whatever it is, and they'll send you a little certificate. You take a course or something, and you're certified in it.
Right.
Well, is that actual certification? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just an opinion of mine. But I think as this gets taken seriously and more serious research is done with it, I think, it will be an actual recognized science. And that's the way I'd like to see it go. However, there's a drawback to this, and part of the drawback is many people just kind of, blow this off as just a bunch of nonsense, and it's just a bunch of guys doing it as a hobby, and it's something, which really, in a sense, that's what it was. I mean, I have to admit, when I started doing it, it was, a hobby for me.
Right.
And really, to be honest with you, I still really don't do, really seriously in-depth research, in it, and that I keep records of everything, and any experiences and things and that, and anyone tells me something, I document all these things and that. But, down the line, I think it will be recognized, and taken more seriously.
Right. Steve just put out a thing, does the Catholic Church have secret evidence? Now, before you answer this question, let me just say something. What do you think of the St. Rita monks that were seen in church? Do you think that's a real story, or do you think that was a made-up story?
I believe that to be true. Yeah, I believe that to be true.
I do too.
I've never spoken with any actual eyewitnesses to that event, but many, many eyewitness accounts that you read, many people. And there again, now see, here's the thing too, when you have eyewitness accounts to an event, which for that one, pretty much that's all we have. Because I don't know if anybody that was in there with a camera that actually took photos of these monks or took voice recordings or anything of any chanting or anything that may have been going on. But so basically what you're going on is just basically eyewitness testimony. And you have to look at the people that are giving these stories and the stories you've read and what's out there, the information that's out there in this one. And again, like I said, I've not talked to anyone personally that's experienced that myself. And how many of these people are still around, I don't know, because that's been some years have passed. But you have to look at that, and is it a person that's really not losing or gaining anything by telling that story? They're basically just telling you, yes, I was there, this is what happened, this is what I saw. And it's also correlating with someone else that was there.
Right.
And it's correlating with another person that was there. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 people, however many it may be, all come up with the same story, something they've seen, something they've heard, something they've witnessed. Yes, I would take that a little more seriously, and I'd say, yeah, there is some credibility to that story. Yeah, that I believe did happen.
Right,
Yeah.
just like the Jerry Palis story. Do you believe the Jerry Palis story is a true story?
Jerry Palis with the Resurrection Mary?
Correct, sir.
Well, all I could say is this. Jerry Palis said that story, and he stuck to it, no matter who said he was crazy, he was goofy, he was making something up, he was looking for some sort of notoriety, whatever it may be. He said his story. He was very consistent about it. He always said the same thing. He never really said, like, dates or times or, it happened on June 22nd or anything, nothing of the such like that. But he always was very consistent with his story, and he stuck to it. He never backed away from it. And he really took that story with him to his grave, which incidentally is in Resurrection Cemetery. Just in case you don't know who Jerry Palis was, he mentioned that. Jerry Palis was a man that actually claimed to have a direct encounter with Resurrection Mary and actually touched her, danced with her, actually had her in his car, drove her home, this type of thing like that. And he really stuck to that story, and he stuck with it. And do I believe he did have that? Well, who might doubt it? He stuck with this, and that's what he, like you said, it's a story he took with him, and he never really flinched from it. So, yes, I believe there was something to it. Yeah.
Right, and I agree with you. The thing about, let me just let people know about the two of the stories that we're talking about. The St. Rita story, I believe that was in the 1960s. You correct me if I'm wrong, Bob. What happened was there was a church, mass was going on. Some monks started, they just all of a sudden formed and started floating around the altar area, and people witnessed this. Supposedly, music was played, I believe. That was going on there as well. And the Jerry Palis story is the story where I think it happened in 1939. What happened was he swore, like Bob said, that he danced with a girl that resembled Resurrection Mary. But what was odd about it, he said she was blonde. Now, the girl that he's talking about, it was actually a brunette. And when he went to the house the next following day to say, because Mary Bergovi gave the address to him before he dropped her off in front of Resurrection Cemetery, and he went there and knocked on the door. Now, this is 4 to 5 years after her death. And he knocks on the door, and the mother answers the door, and he says, hey, can I talk to Mary? And she goes, she passed away 4 or 5 years ago. Now, imagine the mom's probably already upset, but behind her shoulder is the picture of her daughter. And he says, that's the girl. That's the girl I was dancing with last night. But what was odd was that was a picture of a brunette. So I don't know if
and he always stuck with this story, although I have to admit, any story that he ever told, I don't believe I've ever heard him mention anything about the hair color.
About the what?
About the hair color. About
no,
being
he
blonde
does.
Or brunette.
The reason why I know is because I was researching it again, because I always kind of just keep going over people's different paperwork, and then I looked up the video. He actually did a video of that at Chet's.
There with Richard Crowe.
Yeah. I don't know if
Incidentally, I just got mailed a picture. A very good friend of mine, Linda Preka, was going through some of her old photos. She was going through old photos and stuff and kind of cleaning them out, like, looking for something to do while everybody's homebound. And she, yesterday in the mail, she mailed me a photo of one of the tours that we did when I, with the group and that. And then also, too, she had an old photo of Richard Crowe taking one of his groups through Chinatown.
Right.
And I know it's Chinatown because we're all standing in front of one of the food dogs over there at Zodiac Plaza.
That was good food.
Yeah, but that was a famous interview that Richard Crowe did with him in Chet's, sitting at the table there, and he talked with it. And that's pretty much the story that he always stuck with. He never really flinched from that story. And anytime he told it, he always told that same story. He never really changed it much. I'm looking through a book right now, seeing if I can find something. It's called, no, it wasn't called Our Lady of Angels. What the heck was it called? The St. Rita's.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm seeing if I can find something about St. Rita's here. I'm kind of thumbing through the book here. Here we got Monk's Castle, St. Rita's. Let's see if I find something here for you.
Hey,
so give you a little information on this St. Rita's. Let's see. A church full of ghosts. Maybe not its Holy Family Church.
Yeah,
Let me see what that one is. Let me see.
that might be it.
Yeah, let me see. That's the story. Let me see. Dilly Goat Tavern. Yeah, we know about the Dilly Goats.
Now, just so people, while Bob's looking at that, that's usually called a portal haunting. That's where, for some weird reason, whatever's happening that day, either it be an environment or a certain day or a time, or for whatever reason, a traumatic or dramatic incident happened, sometimes these portals open, just like Monk's Castle. What happens is these portals, once again, that's a portal haunting. What happens is, for whatever, and I believe it's a lot about environment, a certain time of day, a night, the weather, these things happen, and these portals, they open. Not all the time, but it takes certain things, environment, and what's being caused on that day. Bob, were you able to find that?
No, there's like the page, but it's not the right page. Let me see, I can find it here. Give me a second to kind of thumb through this, because it's kind of a thick book here that I'm looking at. It's got some of the stories here.
And while you're looking for that,
stuff off Astro's Grove.
Yeah, if everybody wants to open up another fine adult beverage, please do so while Bob is doing our research for us.
Oh, you got some folks there with you?
No. I'm on Facebook Live, Bob, and I'm popping open beers because it's called Spirits by the Graveside.
Self-res murder. Let's see what we got here.
Bob's doing that.
Yeah, we know about that one.
So while Bob's doing that, let's talk about the haunting that's almost just like that happens over at Monk's Castle. Monk's Castle, which is which isn't really called Monk's Castle. It was found in 1888, but the portal haunting happened twice. I believe once in we'll say 1918, and then it also happened in 1976. One of the stories is that some portal opened up, and there was a sheriff's police officer who thought that he saw kids that looked like they were in robes going around in the cemetery area, but then as he started to follow them, they went a little bit quicker and they disappeared. But actually, he wrote a report on that. Am I correct on that, Bob?
Yeah. There's a couple of different versions of the story. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, when you say Monk's Castle, you were talking about St. James at the Sag.
Yeah, I'm sorry, St. James at the Sag.
Yeah, because a lot of people get confused when you say Monk's Castle, because some people refer to St. James at the Sag as Monk's Castle, and then some people refer to the old Peabody Estate in Oakbrook as Monk's Castle also,
really?
too.
I never knew that.
Yeah, so that's why when you say Monk's Castle, a lot of times people get a little confused as to which one you're referring to.
Yeah, okay. All right, does anybody want to put on some questions for Bob while Bob's researching? All right.
Chicago North, there's about Dillinger's Ghost, Haunted Pub. Yeah,
what do you think about Dillinger's Ghost? Do you think Dillinger's Ghost is that's a real thing going on?
Yeah, I believe that too. Of course, now he's a little harder to see because a lot of people would see him in the alley, and the alley is no longer there.
Right.
The alley between the theater and the other building that's there, but now they've actually closed that in. And the building is like right next to the theater, so there is no more alley anywhere where there once was.
What about the Eastland disaster?
You could very well just be through that building now, for all that matters, yeah.
What about the Eastland disaster? Do you think there's still...
Oh, the Eastland, yeah, that's a great... In fact, the other day somebody was asking me about the Eastland. We were talking about the Eastland the other day. Yeah, that's a strange one, too. You know, when you have that kind of death, that amount of death in an area like that, where you're on the Chicago River like that, you know, that many people in that time span like that died very suddenly like that. Yeah, I don't think you could help but have something, you know, go on with that. You know?
There's either got to be definitely residual haunting or earthbound spirits that don't know that they're dead. Just so what people understand about earthbound spirits is sometimes it's believed to be that when you're born with an umbilical cord out of your mother. Of course, everybody knows that. But it's also believed that when you pass, there is an umbilical cord to the soul. Now, sometimes through traumatic or dramatic occurrences, like either a car wreck or like the Eastland disaster, you weren't something expecting. So what happens is you're astral projected forcefully out of your body. This is theory. Other people's thing. I listen to it and I enjoy it. They believe that you are astral projected out of your body and the umbilical cord snaps and you don't even know it and you don't even know you're dead. Now, there could be, like Bob was talking about, time lapse. Is there a stop in time? They don't know that they passed, or either they are taking on a different kind of intelligence at the moment where they do not know what's going on, and they're sometimes lost. One of those places I believe that's the country house. I believe that there might be something there from Flight 529 that happened in the 1960s.
Yeah, I got this about All Souls Day, Phantom Monks. This is about St. Rita's Church, the story we were just talking about.
Yeah, if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, here I got somebody's version of this that wrote about this. This is at a 7 a.m. Mass.
Mm-hmm.
One person named Mary, whoever this person married, they only give the first name Mary, remembered there were some shrill notes coming from the organ. Priest turned from the altar to look, but no one was there. Those at the Mass paid scant attention to maverick organ notes. Later that day, when things were escalated, there were 5 of us on sacristy duty. The church became very eerie, and then there was a whistling around the church. There was a stillness and a chilling reflect. Mary, whoever this person Mary is, that I witnessed this, said. Mary was originally in a side room behind the altar. She came to investigate when she heard strange noise and commotion. Then she spotted the figures. In the organ loft, there were 3 black and white figures. The figures were transparent, wrapped in gauze-like veiling, a wispy kind of a fabric. There were no faces or hands visible. The figures were first in the organ loft, and then on the main floor, and they asked that we pray for them, so they did speak. Kids were trying to leave the church and were very panicky. One of the girls was trying to leave the church but couldn't. There was a weird vacuum effect that held everyone back. By the time Mary crossed the altar area, the main floor, things were winding down. She headed towards the side door, which by this time was functioning, and left the church building. Decades later, she still finds it difficult to discuss the event. So to this person, Mary, they don't give the last name of who she was, but this happened, and apparently, I don't know what the date of this book is. Now, this book is somewhat old, so she may no longer be with us anymore either, this person.
Now, I know that, what at least the rumor that I heard is that the Catholic Church, or the people that were there, they were told to keep this secret, hush-hush, and never to speak a word of this. That's what I've always been told.
Yeah, the church, the Catholic Church does like to kind of keep these things hushed. They do, especially if it's anything involving the church and involving a Catholic cemetery, that type of thing like that. And all right, that's their belief, that's their reasoning. Okay,
sure.
I understand that. I don't hold that against them. But when things like this happen, you have multiple witnesses to an event like this. It's kind of hard to keep these things quiet. It's going to leak out somewhere,
Yeah. All right, Bob. I couldn't ask for a better guy to come on my show today. I do appreciate it, and I definitely want to have you back. That there is a guarantee, and I'm sure all our viewers, they love to hear the knowledge that you have. So, Bob, with that being said, I say spirit to you. Have a happy Easter. May you always...
Yes, likewise. Everyone have a happy Easter. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay well, everyone. Keep your spirits up, and everybody will just get through this. That's it. Yeah.
All right, Bob. Well, thanks for calling. I do appreciate your time.
Okay, Neil. Thank you, sir. And I will talk with you later, sir.
Oh, of course you will. All right, brother.
Okay.
Bye. All right, that was Mr. Robert Trzeciak. I'm going to tell you something, man. That man has a whole lot of knowledge. Now, we do have a phone number that you can call if you want to call in. Let me... Let's go on our thing here for our number. Now, what do other people think about, like, Bigfoot? Do you think there's really a Bigfoot out there? Now, you can call in 708-227-7747. If you want to ask a question tonight, feel free to give me a call right here. Feel free to. Have a beer. Now, one of the things is that we were talking about portal hauntings. It's just so very interesting. The stories that are told, like the St. Rita story, or the most... Oh, hold on. I got a guy here calling us. Let's see who our first caller is. Hello. You're on Graveside,
Hello?
Spirits by the Graveside. How are you, sir? How may I help you?
Hello, my name is Mitch Jenkins.
Mitch Jenkins.
And,
How are you
I'm
today, sir?
Yeah, I'm calling from Nimblewill, Georgia.
Georgia. Wow.
That's right. I'm a first-time listener and first-time caller.
Well, I do appreciate it. It's our first show. You're my first-time caller other than Bob. How's it going, buddy?
Great. I really like that Bob. He's a nice guy. Sorry to hear that he got killed 3 times, but he's doing okay, so that's good.
Yeah, Bob's doing better. He's been resurrected.
So I know you focus mostly on the grave side of the paranormal, but out here where I live in Nimblewill, I like to take walks at night. And
Okay.
I live near some wooded area where if you walk a little too far, you might find yourself in some peculiar paranormal-like situations.
As in?
Well, so, and I know you're an investigator, so
Right.
I'm going to tell you this. Don't think I'm crazy.
All right.
It's got nothing to do with ghosts.
All right. No, we're totally open to everything. Sasquatch, ghosts, aliens.
Because my friend told me you all were talking about Sasquatch earlier, and that's why I jumped down. And so I was walking out, and because there's not much to do, right? Everyone's on lockdown. I'm walking out, and I'm out in the woods, and it's a dark night like it usually is, but I got a couple friends with me who were drinking.
Right.
And I got a flashlight, and I'm just shining it down yonder, and I see what appears to be a very big, hairy man with big feet walking all by himself. It was big, I tell you. Big feet, big hair, just walking along.
Just walking along,
And
not
then-
doing anything else.
Walking along. And then I shine my flashlight, and it looked back at me,
Yeah.
and it gave me a gaze that nearly pierced my soul. And that's when I noticed it was wearing one of them blue N95 masks over
What?
his face. And I said, where did he get one of those? Because I can't find one anywhere. And so my question to you is, where did he get that mask?
What's your name again?
Mitch Jenkins
Mitch?
from Nimblewill, Georgia.
Mitch Jenkins, and he had an N95.
N95, blue like the sky, but it was dark. It was like a patch of sky on his face. And he just gazed at me, and then he walked away. I think he thought I wanted to get his mask. But I was more afraid of him than he was of me, that's for sure.
So I appreciate the story. It's a very interesting story. What kind of help can I help you with something like this, Mitch?
Where did he get that mask? I can't find one.
But,
I can find a Sasquatch, but I can't find that darn mask.
Well, you definitely found a Sasquatch, but you damn well couldn't figure out where the heck he got a mask.
I don't know. I went to Walmart and Costco, and I can't find it. I think we might need to trap that Sasquatch and take that mask off him.
What about? Have you been watching the new show Tiger King at all?
I know Carol. Carol Baskin.
You know Carol Baskin?
I do know Carol Baskin. I was with her that night.
What night?
I won't tell you which night.
Really? What do
We all know about Carol Baskin. Everyone knows about Carol Baskin.
Wow, that's crazy, Mitch.
But
Well,
I feel bad for Joe Exotic.
what do you think about the Golden Nuggets?
I've been to Golden Nugget,
So,
but I won't tell you more than that.
all right. Well, hey, I appreciate it.
I've been in jail a couple times, if you know what I mean.
Well,
All about them Golden Nuggets.
well, we do appreciate your call. We're going to see if we can get another caller in here. That was Mitch. Thanks for calling, Mitch, and watch out for them Sasquatches.
I will. I'll send you a picture next time, okay?
All right.
Take care, y'all.
All right. Happy
Be
Easter.
safe.
Bye-bye. All right. Well, that was Mitch from Georgia, I think it was. Well, that has been a show. What I'd like to do is, before we go, like we talked about, this is called Spirits. So what I have my favorite, and then I have my special shot glass. Let's toast to the most, because we're going to go talk about a ghost. So ladies and gentlemen, I thank each and every one of you for listening to our show tonight. I say God bless to you all. Listen for the things that go bump in the night. Don't put up a fright. God bless you all. This is Neil Gibbons with Spirits by the Graveside. God bless.